Have you ever noticed two people, maybe two groups of people, fighting each other? And they are so committed to winning. They are so committed to what they believe is right that they will actually argue to the point where they'll end up fighting, or they will argue to the point where they end up turning away from each other and no longer addressing each other, that they find themselves separated from one another. My guess is that you've probably seen that in the world, and maybe you've seen that in your own life. Sometimes husbands and wives or spouses will fight each other. Sometimes families and parents or kids will argue with each other. Sometimes groups within community or people on either side of the political aisle will argue with each other. And they are so focused on what they believe is right that they lose sight of the other. They lose sight of that person. It will often lead to fighting and arguing and even separation. It's unbelievable how sometimes our own pride, our own desire to win, our own control will lead us to being broken from the people we love the most. That's what's happening as we begin 2 Samuel. Now, as we read the first two chapters, first part of the second chapter, we've seen that Saul has died. And his son, Ishbosheth, has been anointed king over the tribes of Israel. There's another guy we've been hearing about. His name's David. He has been anointed over king of Judah. And so you have essentially David's house, David's tribe, David's soldiers, his group of people. And then you have Saul's son, Ishbosheth, who is over the tribes of Israel. And these two groups come together, Saul's son and David, to come to compete with one another. But as you begin to read through chapter 2, this competition begins to spiral out of control, and people end up fighting. People end up killing each other. People end up chasing after each other. People who actually were once friends and family are now battling one another. And as you continue to read through the second chapter and the first verse of chapter 3, it says the war between Saul's house and David's house was long and drawn out. Two groups of people, these two houses, these tribes of people have been fighting, and it has been long and drawn out. Think for a minute if there's any place in your life where pride or desire to win or to be right has led to some brokenness or some hurt or some separation that has been long and drawn out. It's quite unbelievable how our pride gets in the way of us actually loving and caring for and actually bringing about the change in the world that we want to see. So take just a second. Think about any place in your life where possibly pride or desire to be right or to win has separated you from people that matter most, or have caused you to look at some other group or some other person as less than, or maybe even unlovable. That's not the way God sees things. You see, when we pursue after God, the greatest thing we may ever do is have a desire not to win, not to live with pride, that we actually show up with humility. We show up from places of peace and a longing to connect with other people, to discover together ways we both might change in order to be more like the people God has created us to be. People of love and grace and peace and mercy. But of course, that's not where we are in this reading. So as you've been reading, you have the battles and the fighting and the arguing and the long and drawn out struggle between these two houses. Take a minute to just think about your own house and the people you're in relationship with. Has pride gotten in the way of those relationships? And where might God be calling you? To places of humility, places of peace, places of being willing to be open to the possibility of change, of connection. into living in to the people that God has created us to be.